Over the last few years, I get asked a lot about what kind of stuff do we use, whether that's trucks, whether that's trailers, stripers, paint, all that stuff. So in this video, we're going to go through this quick power summary of all of the stuff that we use at our striping company today. What's up, guys? Thanks so much for watching on YouTube or listening on the audio version of the podcast today. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, it means the world. Big thing you need to know about stencils, though. When I started, I was buying the plastic stencils, the LDPEs. You can typically get them in like 1/16 of an inch thick, or you can get them in 1/8 of an inch thick, so like double the thickness. You might think it's not that big a deal. In my experience, it is a big deal. Like, pay up for the 1/8 inch thick, especially if it's a stencil you're going to use a lot. The only time to this day that we won't buy a 1/8 of an inch thick stencil is if we know it's going to be used like once every 5 years, and then we'll roll it up carefully. But those thin ones, very thin, they're more prone to get damaged. There's a big difference if you get the 1/8, so make sure you prioritize those. Spray tips. Somebody just asked me this yesterday. What kind of spray tips do we use? I'll keep it simple. So for a Graco machine, if you are walking a machine, our guys typically use a 319. That's the yellow tip Graco 319. If we're driving, you can drive a little bit faster than you walk, so we go up to a 321 tip. If I'm driving, I like to drive really fast, especially if it's a restripe. Like, I just go fast. I want to get it done. So I'll go up to a 323 tip. That puts out a lot of paint. If you're just starting out, or if you're not sure what tips to use, 319 is pretty much the gold standard. In fact, when you buy a machine, a Graco machine will come with a 319 tip. The other tips we find really handy are 217s. So that's a little bit narrower of a spray width. It doesn't put out a ton of paint, but it's really good for like hand spraying stencils, hand spraying curbs, basically anywhere where you don't need a lot of paint. And then another handy tip is a 425. So if you're ever spraying lines that are wider, like a 6-inch line, or even up to an 8-inch line, 425 is love that tip. Very, very good. What kind of paint do we use? Well, in the last 2 years, due to the old paint shortage, I think we've used like a grand total of like 9 different paint SKUs, which is really frustrating for inventory purposes. But essentially, we use the same stuff every time. We use a solvent-based low VOC paint. You can still get like, high VOC paint, but there's really no reason to get it. In my experience, it's getting harder to get. VOCs are like the level of, I'm forgetting what, volatile organic compounds. Basically how stinky the paint is, how much, solvent and stuff is in there. Anyways, the paint we use is always low VOC solvent. Our favorite paints that we like to use are Sherwin-Williams Setfast, TM5626. Like, I've memorized that SKU because I love it to death. That's a great paint. We've had difficulties getting it, so we also don't mind using Sherwin-Williams Promar. It's not as good. It is also a low VOC solvent, but we love that Setfast paint. It's a dream. Another good paint that's worked really well for us is NS Flint. They make a low VOC paint. The number in Canada is different than the number in the States. I think in the States it's 0049, I think. Do your homework, talk to your paint reps, they will help you out. That's also a phenomenal paint. The last couple of years, we've been using Davies paint. Looks good, sprays good, smells good. Don't know if it tastes good, but guys have really liked it. I don't think I've personally used it. I think only our guys have used it, but they seem to really like it as well. But that's our go-to. The only time we will use a waterborne paint is if somebody points a gun at us and says you have to. If it's like spec'd on an airport for like temporary markings or something, or something like that, then we will. But in general, we will never use waterborne or a latex paint. Too cold up here, doesn't last as long, just not as good. Okay, we're almost there. These last ones will go a little bit quicker. Somebody asked me quite a while ago about our reflective target boxes for our lasers. So if you've ever seen any of our videos that we've put out, with our company, Laser Pavement Solutions, or at Stripe It, you've probably seen a Graco machine with the laser. So you can't actually see that laser during the day. So you need like a reflective target during the day to be able to see where you're going. We home make our own target boxes. So I don't want to like poo-poo Graco here because I love Graco. But if you were to buy that reflective box from them, I think it's like $100. But you can make your own reflective target box. Go to any department store like Walmart. I almost said Canadian Tire. That would have lost like 90% of the audience. Any department store, and all you're going to look for, you can even get them on Amazon. You're looking for a collapsible shopping bin. So it's like plastic, it literally folds flat, and then when you can like unfold it, and now it looks like a shopping cart or a shopping bin. And then what we do is we go to our local sign shop, and then we get a reflective sign cut to size, and then we just tape it in there. So it's the exact same thing as what you would buy from Graco from a reflective target box, but like a fifth of the cost. And that way, if you break them, you know, sometimes you accidentally hit it with a machine and they shatter. Very easy to make your own. So that's what we do for those. 4 more. You know, in our trailers, you know, we have a couple crew trailers that go out. We have, you know, you need a lot of small tools, your screwdrivers, your wrenches, all that stuff. Milwaukee packouts, you pay up for them because it's Milwaukee, but they're absolutely phenomenal. Can't recommend Milwaukee packouts enough. We find it a lot better than just buying like generic tool bags and chucking all the crap in there. I think we all know what happens when that happens is it just turns into a gong show. You can't find stuff. Milwaukee tool packouts, phenomenal. Cordless tools. If I had it my way, we would just use Milwaukee cordless tools because I love Milwaukee. I think they're the best. However, a lot of Graco's cordless equipment utilizes DeWalt batteries. So their stencil rig, their brand new like line striping machine, the ES500, I believe it's called, literally uses a giant DeWalt battery. So for that reason, we, you know, all of our hand grinders, our drills, all that stuff, we keep it all DeWalt so that way it synchronizes with potential, you know, future endeavors for us getting into cordless striping equipment. Just makes sense. So we have like DeWalt chargers everywhere. We got DeWalt batteries everywhere. Just kind of makes it easy. And last but not least, chalk and chalk line. So our guys, I always laugh when people ask me that, what kind of chalk line? Or if I see it online. I laugh because we don't actually snap very many chalk lines these days, like pretty rare. Just because we have auto layout on the equipment, we have lasers. But if we do chalk lines, we don't have any recommendation. I don't have some secret chalk line. The only thing I can tell you is that if you're just starting out and you don't have lasers, you do need to snap lines. What I started doing, and even to this day the guys will still do it, is we buy railroad chalk from Amazon. The brand is Dixon Railroad Chalk. So it's like a 4-inch piece of chalk. And what we do is we'll take like a long piece of cotton rope, and if you drag the rope like over the chalk in your hand, you can use that like 1/4-inch cotton rope as a chalk line, and it will be very bright, very visible, as opposed to like, you know, a normal snap line on a construction project. So if you want like bright, you do a lot of chalk line snapping, cotton rope, Dixon Railroad Chalk, combine them together, you got something really cool. Matt, did I miss anything? Is that all the stuff that we use? Cool. That's most of the stuff we use. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. Answer some of the questions. If you want to know more details as to why we use a 217 tip or why we, you know, use diesel trucks, just reach out anytime. Comment on this video. If you're listening on the podcast, reach out on Instagram or send an email. Anytime. We'd love to chat with you. Keep your stripes hot.